I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking with an amazing emerging author. Her name is Jennie Dial, and she passionately is delving into the world of writing with her children's series, The Adventures of Jack and Milo, inspired by her own family and love for genuine storytelling. Milo is a playful bull terrier, and Jack is his pilot buddy. We're delighted to have Jennie join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Jennie, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you, Logan, for having me. It's so excited to be here. I'm just so excited. Thank you.
My pleasure. Glad to have you. I'm a little disappointed that you're not holding Milo today while you do the interview.
Oh, no.
That would be tough to do.
Yeah, bull terriers are a funny breed. They're short, but they're bulky. And so he weighs about 75 pounds.
So that'd be tough to be holding him like this in the interview. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I have two little Jack Russell Terriers. They're about 15 pounds. So they're like mini Milos in a way.
Yes. And, terriers are an amazing group of dogs. They come in many sizes and they have many functions. But boy, oh boy, they got characters and personalities like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I do believe. Mine gets me up every morning at 5:30 for a walk. It's tearing up the house from that point forward. I mean, he's only about 8 months old. He's a puppy. And so it's a lot. And I can't imagine if he was 70 pounds. I definitely couldn't deal with him. His vet says if he was 6 feet tall, he would rule the world.
Yes. And they like to be next to you. They like that part.
They do. They want to be sitting on your head if possible, as my dad used to say. Very, very true. Well, Milo's been great inspiration for you. And Jack, his pilot buddy, is that a real life person as well?
That's my husband.
Okay.
We have a small, now we have a Cessna. We've had other various planes before. But we were going down the coast of Oregon into California.
Beautiful trip.
And I looked at the two of them and I thought, you guys would just make the funniest stories. And I started just kind of writing a little bit about them. And I just thought, I've always wanted to write. And it just kind of happened that they really are best friends. You can't separate them. I'm the third wheel. So I just started thinking about, if they have a plane, they can go anywhere that they want to go. So that's kind of how I started writing.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's great you found inspiration at home for sure. And you've got 2 books out right now, right?
Yes. The first book is called Milo Meets a New Friend. And that was the first book. But what happened was there's another character in the book. It's the little puppy that they rescued. And everybody kept asking me what happened to Gizmo. So I had to write the second book to kind of explain what happened to Gizmo. And then my granddaughter said, Grandma, I want to be in the book. And I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this?
Right.
So my granddaughter is in the book as well. And Gizmo's in the book. And it's how Jack and Milo met. So it can be a prequel if you like, but it is the second part of the series. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So you've got 2 books out there. What was the reaction of your granddaughter and of other children when you started reading them these books?
They love it. I found a really amazing illustrator. I cannot take credit for that. But she's wonderful. She and we've never spoke in person, but I found her work. I wrote her and I sent her my stories, and she just sends me the most beautiful illustrations. And my granddaughter, she actually helps edit. She reads it with me. And they love it. They love the dog, and they love the illustrations and the story. And what I tried to do with the story is Milo's a dog. Everybody has them. You have one.
Mhm.
And I wanted to make them like we experience our own dogs, because children, there's a lot of books out there that have fanciful characters, unicorns and things, and that's lovely. But I wanted to bring a little bit more what children are experiencing every day. So Milo doesn't do anything that a dog doesn't do. And he does fly in our plane.
Right.
So she loves it. And I have a grandson, he loves it too. She actually went, they had a day at school where they went as their favorite fictional character.
Mhm.
And she went as her character in the book, Gracie.
Oh, that's awesome. That's got to be
So,
very
yeah,
rewarding for you.
yeah.
That's great. So was this the first time you tried your hand at writing when you wrote the Milo series?
Yes,
Okay.
it was. I've got novels that are in my, somewhere in the depths of my computer, and I've written poems and other nonfiction things, but
Mhm.
this is my first foray into actually writing and publishing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So have you envisioned this Milo and Jack series perhaps as an animated series or something like that?
Absolutely. I have I've also produced an activity book, which
Mhm.
is kind of sort of along the lines of, if your child or your grandchild is at the restaurant and they're wanting something to do and they bring out the little mat, with the crayons
Yep.
and stuff. So I have 100-page book that is out, and I see Jack and Milo in their own merchandising plane and an animated series and
Right.
live action. I'd love for it to get picked up. Absolutely.
That sounds great. And so is there a moral or a lesson in your stories about Milo and Jack?
Yeah, I wanted to get across to kids that, friends can come in any form. Um, and you can have fun really anywhere you go, as long as you're with people that you love and care about.
Mhm.
Having to help people and be joyful in that gift of helping, and that people make mistakes. And I have stories in my head about Milo having a not so good day,
Yeah.
maybe grumpy and gets into trouble, and Jack has to kind of reprimand him a little bit. But
Yeah.
children want to be validated for what they do all the time, and sometimes we only validate them when they're really good, and we have to let them know that sometimes you're going to have a bad day. So I think it's just, I want Milo to be the child that I'm reading to, or that's reading my book, and they can identify with having friends, meeting new friends, getting along with people, maybe not getting along with people.
Mhm.
So just to know that they're on the right track, and that being a good kid is a pretty good thing to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I understand you're an advocate of physical books, books in your hands rather than stuff you scroll through on your phone or iPad or whatever. Is that so? Is that true?
Yeah, I'm pretty old school. I spent my childhood in the library,
Hmm.
and I used to read as many books as I could possibly read. I learned a lot from those books, and we're on our screens all the
Yeah.
time, and it's very quick, you know. And the children today, they're getting little bits of information, but they're not able to really extrapolate and to expand on that thought that they had, because they're moving on to the next one.
Right.
So I think with books, you have that tactile,
Hmm.
the book in your hand. And if you miss something, you can go back, and you'll go back and reread things. So it teaches children to actually get some comprehensive validity out of their reading, instead of just images and at quick, ideas. So I think they're both very, very important, and reading from a book is still important.
Yeah, I think, getting kids unplugged and away from screens, whether it's a book or a physical toy, is vital. because I think we're stunting the mental abilities of our children by literally having their faces. You see babies with this in their hands.
I know. And
And it's just, I can't believe it. Used to be mom would give the keys to the kid and the kid would look at the keys. Now they're like scrolling through the phone more adeptly than I.
I know. And again, our brains are, well, at this point in my age, I think my brain is pretty much where it's going to be. But the kids are growing. And if they're only getting bits and pieces and it's all,
Yeah,
they really don't have the ability, like when they get to school and they have to read long, historical accounts or sociology or psychology or history, whatever they're reading, they haven't developed the ability to actually digest the words. And what we look on at a screen as opposed to what we look in a book, I think is a different learning process. And I think we've learned that when, COVID had to shut down, they were really thinking that kids would be okay learning online. But they found out it's not. It's a tool,
right.
but I think we still need to have the books and have them in a place where they can sit away and one of your. I'm sure you've done this where you've gotten in your favorite chair and grabbed your book and just got into that book and there was no sounds or
right.
And I think that's really important for children. I think it's part of their growing up.
I agree. And it's becoming less and less, even for us. It's just so many temptations to just download a book onto your phone or something because it's easier. You don't have to go to the store, but you almost don't have to do anything anymore. You talk to people on screens like this. Everything's on your phone. You order everything from Amazon. So, why don't we just live in a shell and have everything delivered to us and we meet no one and have no life? That's what it's like.
Again, I think we had an experiment with that the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think people finally kind of got it. I mean, there's always going to be people that are hermits that don't want to see people, but I enjoy it. I enjoy going to talk to people and having a conversation with them. And I've gone out to the store. Maybe you've seen this, two young kids, and they've got their phones.
Yeah.
And they're texting each other, and they're standing right there.
Exactly.
I'm
guilty as charged. So I'll text my wife in the next room.
Yeah.
It's better than screaming, and getting the dogs into it. Let's talk about your books one more time before we leave today. And that's vocabularies.
Yes.
That's what you emphasize in your book as well, that the kids are exposed to, words that will help them in their life. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I know a lot of they have books that are graded for children, like 3 to 5, 5 to 9. I'm a big believer in that. You got to kind of stretch children. So if they're reading a book and they know all the words, then it's not really helping them with their reading skills, their comprehension of vocabulary. So I wanted to create a book that maybe might stretch them a little bit. The the illustrations are beautiful to look at. And someone said, you have a lot of words there.
Right.
And I said, if you're reading to your child and the child says, Mom, what does that mean? What does that word mean? Yeah. That's a good thing, because the kid's involved in the story and they didn't hear that word before. So the parent's going to stop, or grandparent or uncle or whoever's reading is going to stop and say, okay, honey, this word means this. Right. And then the kid says, oh, okay, you just taught that child a new word.
Exactly.
And so if you don't stretch the child, if you don't get the kid to be more past what they already know, then you're not really helping them in their growth. And they're doing it with you. They're doing it where they're safe and where they're comfortable, and they trust you. And so it's a great learning experience, I think, to be able to give them a book that they love to read, that they like the characters. And at the end of the day, they're going to say, you know what, I learned 2 new words today.
Exactly.
And I don't think that all of the books do that.
Agreed. Agreed. Jennie Dial has written a wonderful series of children's books. The Adventures of Jack and Milo. It tells the story of a playful bull terrier named Milo and his buddy, a pilot named Jack. These are great books. They'll enhance your children's learning, enhance your children's vocabularies, and it will also expand their imaginations with the beautiful illustrations contained within. Jennie, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan, for having me. It was a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.